another day, another messy office, but it's review time, and that's what matters. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and it's a tablet review today with the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 7.0 on Verizon Wireless. It's available right now at Verizon retail stores, online at VerizonWireless.com, and through telesales for $349.99. And spec-wise, it's not a bad tablet at all. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, a 7-inch display, a 3.2 megapixel camera, 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and more. Is it worth it though when you can get the Asus Nexus 7, also known as the Google Nexus 7, for $199.99? We'll find out in the review, but first some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones, tablets, all kinds of good stuff over the years for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. We've just turned around and give all these devices to you for free for playing our game at PhoneDog.com. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you walk out without dealing with rebates, messy paperwork, waiting 8 to 10 weeks. At Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out rebate free. Let's take a look. Galaxy Tab 2 7.0, special thanks to Verizon for the review unit. Let's check it out. If you like tablets and you like cellular connectivity with your tablets, this could be an awesome choice for you. This is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 7.0. So we've seen a couple of Galaxy Tabs in different shapes and different sizes. We've seen, remember the 7890 or 10, I should say, campaign that they did last year at Mobile World Congress. They've got a 7-inch, they had an 8.9, they had a 10.1. Now they have the Galaxy Tab 2 7.0. It's sporting some new features, some new updates that make it really appealing to people that like tablets. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, a 3.2 megapixel, not megapixel, haha, rear face. That was a terrible joke. It's Friday. Friday, got to get down on Friday, so bear with me. Again, that was also bad. 3.2 megapixel camera. It's got a front-facing camera, a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It's packing Android 4.0, also known as Ice Cream Sandwich, with Samsung's TouchWiz user interface. So you're going to see some customization, some changes to this as a result of it running TouchWiz, but it does have Ice Cream Sandwich out of the gate as opposed to Honeycomb or as opposed to Gingerbread or any of the older Android operating systems. It also has 8 gigabytes of internal memory with support for up to 64 gigabytes via micro SD card. It's got a multiple video file format supported in Wi-Fi connectivity as well. So in those instances where you're out of connectivity when it comes to Verizon, you'll be good to go with Wi-Fi. So this is a 4G LTE tablet, and to give you some background, Verizon's rolled out 4G LTE in over 370 cities. So if you're in a city that supports that, it's getting kind of hard to find a city that doesn't have Verizon 4G LTE. At least it's a city. I mean, we get down into like towns, and even towns are getting LTE now, and like West Virginia and Montana. So it's moving relatively quickly. So 4G connectivity, but let's just talk a little bit about the software out of the gate. Like I said, it's Android 4.0 with TouchWiz user interface, and it does come with some Verizon stuff out of the gate. Now, you'll notice All Share, Amazon Kindle, but then you'll see VCast apps, you'll see guided tours, mobile hotspot, Monopoly as well, which is a Verizon pre-installed thing, as is Let's Golf 3, though if I recall, the games are uninstallable. Maybe not. We'll have to go and look in the settings. It depends on the device, honestly. And then you can come over here and see My Verizon Mobile, Netflix. You got Smart Remote, Up Next Maps HD, VPN client. This is a Samsung approved for enterprise device, rather. So it is a safe device. So you can use it if you're in an enterprise environment at work. And that's a nice feature to have as well. So VZ Navigator pre-installed, $9.99 per month for VZ Navigator. Kind of pointless when you have Google Maps pre-installed on a device, and you can take advantage of that. So you've got Maps right there, and of course actually that needs to be updated to the latest version of Maps, which makes the icon look a little bit different. So 7-inch display here. It is not an HD display. It's noticeably kind of, I wouldn't say pixelated, but after working with HD displays on tablets and HD displays on smartphones and like tablet-y smartphones like the Galaxy Note that kind of breach that division between tablets and phones, it's really kind of frustrating to see a device like this with a screen that's less than perfect. Samsung does a great job when it comes to screens. At $350, I would expect a device like this to have a killer screen, but hey, we'll talk about that later in the video. Then you'll see the stuff I've installed as well, and from here, you can, and since you don't have an on-screen capacitive menu button, you have your menu button up top where you can edit, uninstall things, and more. Then you have widgets over here. You can access those really easily, and you'll see a lot of widgets on this device that are very similar to the widgets on the Galaxy S3. The digital clock, for example, the dual clock. You've got Google Play Books, Music, Memo, Music Player, Play Store, VZ Navigator, all kinds of different widgets you can scroll through by clicking down here, or you can do this as well, which is a cool little feature, and you can access all of your widgets at once. Now you'll notice some buttons down here. You've got Back, Home, Recent Applications, which you can access here, and it's a very typical, almost stock look and feel when it comes to this. And then I can access the Task Manager, and much like any typical Samsung device, I can go to the RAM Manager and clear out the memory. This has 1 gigabyte of memory, so you can take advantage of that, and you've got your downloaded applications here and your active applications, and you can end those as you see fit. And if the menu button were enabled, you could click it right there. Then you also have this little one right here. I love it because it's a screen capture button. So let's say you're browsing the web and you're going to PhoneDog, for example. This will kill two birds with one stone, because we'll look at the web and we'll take a screen capture. So you're in here, you're looking at the Photon Q 4G LTE first impressions, for example, testing pinch to zoom, which probably I would be the only one that was doing that, and I'd only do that if I were on video. You've got your menu button up here, and we'll talk about that in a second. But let's say, you know what, I really want to send my friend something, or let's say I'm reading an article from Taylor or Sydney, I'm like, there's a grammatical error, there's some issue, need to send this to them, need to tell them to fix it. I can click right there, bam, snaps a picture, saves it in my gallery, and you'll see saving screenshot down here, where I can access that, and when I click, screenshot capture. So this kind of works like a notifications bar, but think of it as being in the bottom right hand corner as opposed to the top corner or top middle section like it would be on a typical Android device. You get your battery percentage, you get kind of the same shortcuts with airplane mode, Bluetooth, GPS, sound, and more. A shortcut to settings, this obnoxious ongoing Wi-Fi notification that Verizon insists on putting on every single one of their devices. If you watch my Galaxy S3 review on Verizon or my Droid Incredible 4G LTE review on Verizon, it's really a frustrating kind of thing that they're doing with these devices, tablets included, where Wi-Fi, you can't remove it. It's a constantly ongoing notification, and it's just reminding you to turn on Wi-Fi. It's just really annoying. Not as annoying on this, because you don't use, or at least for me, I don't use the notifications bar as much on a tablet as I do on my smartphone. I'm constantly checking messages, checking missed calls through my notifications bar on my Android smartphone. That said, pretty frustrating. And then of course you can come in here and you can change the pen stuff around, and you can draw on this and then email it to a colleague, a friend, whatever the case may be, and you can erase and do that kind of stuff. So back to home, we'll go back to the web and you can take a look here. Browser's very loosely, or very much based on Chrome. You got your tabs up here at the top. Portrait to landscape transition nice and fast, and Samsung's keypad, not my favorite in the world, but relatively impressive. Now tablet sizes, it depends on what you like. You may like a 7 and 8.9. Personally, I always thought the sweet spot was kind of 8.9, but the 7-inch form factor is really growing on me because these are great to read a book or to compose a quick message, because even in landscape mode, I can touch my fingers together and easily use the keyboard. So I can easily type in phonedog.com, for example, and hit go. But that's what the keyboard looks like, and you can use it in portrait mode as well. And honestly, at 7 inches, it's not that far off from the Samsung Galaxy Note, especially if the Note 2 has this 5.5-inch display like it's rumored to have. It's not that far off from the Note or even the rumored Note 2. So it's a decent keyboard, not my favorite on the market by any means, but you can come in here and access Google Voice typing as well, and of course download alternatives from the Google Play Store, and you can see it's available there, or actually, take that back, it's not available in the notifications bar like it would be on a typical ice cream sandwich device or smartphone, but you can access it right over here to the left of the clock and change your keyboard as you see fit. But all in all, browser's nice and easy to use and very clean. Pinch to zoom responsiveness, nice and quick, and then of course you can add tabs by clicking up here and get to all your menu stuff, desktop view, all the stuff that we know and love on an ice cream sandwich smartphone by clicking the menu button over here in the top right hand corner. Now, I've got my bookmarks, my back, my forward. It's a fully functional browser, so if that's something that appeals to you, it's a 7-inch form factor, making it pretty nice to quickly surf the web, quickly read a book, hold it in one hand even. This could almost, I don't want to give Samsung any ideas, but this could almost pass for a phone. Maybe not really. I mean, it's not that much. It's really not that far off the Galaxy Note. I mean, take a look at this in comparison, as a size comparison. It's really not that far away. So who knows? We might see this as a smartphone in the coming years. You never quite know. Out of the box, though, you get your power button on the right side, volume rocker. It looks like an infrared port over here. On the bottom, you get speakers and a Samsung proprietary charging port, which comes via a customized USB cable out of the box. You get 3.5mm headphone jack over here, and then you have your SIM card slot, and you have your micro SD card slot, which supports, like I said, up to a 64GB card. So it is, all in all, a pretty decent device with your Google shortcuts up here on the top, where I can access that. Unfortunately, it is not running Jelly Bean like the Asus Nexus 7, so you don't get Google Now integration or any sort of the Jelly Bean improvements, Project Butter or anything like that, and your menu button's up here in the right corner. That said, hopefully this will get Jelly Bean sooner rather than later, because you look at it with this versus a Jelly Bean based device. Yes, this has 4G LTE connectivity. Yes, it's $350. Yes, if you buy it for $350, you're buying it on a unsubsidized cost. You can take it wherever you want to go. You can use 4G LTE on one of Verizon's plans, yada yada, that's all well and good, but the Asus Nexus 7 starts at $199.99 and packs some killer features including Jelly Bean, which despite the fact that it doesn't have a user interface, which might make it a little harder for some people, Jelly Bean's a pretty nice refined operating system. So again, Everything's pretty responsive on this device. The dual-core processor runs relatively well. That said, I'd love to see a little bit of a better display and perhaps a cheaper price point. Stay tuned for part 2. We'll cover speed test, quadrant standard, and more on the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 7.0. Stay tuned.